Always good to see you and always good to talk to you, Jeff. You write some of the most interesting economic data stories that we have on the site. But I want to ask you the question that everybody really wants answered. Is there any question about these numbers when it comes to CPI today?
There are a lot of questions about these numbers, and for a number of reasons. I guess just the basic part of it is just how reliable are these numbers based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics is having a lot of trouble with its data collection. It's having to basically what it calls impute more and more data into these surveys. In other words, just kind of guessing at what the price of bread is in New York if they can't get the right response rate from businesses. So it's really raising a lot of issues in terms of whether you can trust this data, whether it's, of course, President Trump raising the possibility that it could be politically facing political factors.
Well, Jeff,
also
let's get to that in just a second. I'm sorry to cut you off very quickly, but I want to go back to the first thing that you said. So staffing cuts and budget cuts have raised questions about the reliability of the data, separate from any political implications, simply the sample size, the canvassing, the level of responses that they're getting. You're saying that's really the question, at least on the surface for right now.
Yeah, it's response rates. And it's interestingly enough, there was some research from Goldman Sachs overnight, and they talked about this and about how markets are reacting to these things, that this data has become unreliable to the extent that markets may be overreacting to surprises on the upside and downside. To get to the basic issue, though, is just getting the information has been more and more difficult for the BLS just because people just aren't responding to these things anymore. And the BLS is using very kind of antiquated, kind of analog measures to gather this. There's a lot of pressure on them to modernize how they're collecting data. They're still calling people up on the phone and using paper surveys and those kind of things that
and who picks up phone numbers they don't know, Jeff? Like, who even picks that number up? If you don't know the number and it's not somebody you know, who's even picking it up these days?
Right, exactly.
I want to go to the political implications of this because you were just getting started on that, but I wanted to clear up the data collection questions. Are there questions going forward, or maybe even in this CPI report, that there's some type of political, management of the numbers in any way?
I don't think anybody on Wall Street thinks that that's the case, Frank. I believe that this is being used as a political issue, and this is certainly not the first time we've ever heard this. This goes back, many years of politicians accusing the BLS and other government agencies of massaging the data to make whoever's in power look good or whoever's in power look bad. This is President Trump's point. But I have never talked to anybody on the economics front, any economists on Wall Street, who think that, this stuff is being manipulated. And I'll tell you, I've worked with BLS people for many years, and I've always found them to be pretty conscientious people and, they take their jobs very seriously.